Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I love my air fryer. And I'm often asked, why is an air fryer better than a conventional oven or a deep fryer? Well, today I'm going to show you 5 recipes that I think are better in the air fryer than they are in these conventional methods, starting with chicken wings. I think chicken wings are so much better in the air fryer because they get even more crispy. They're not as messy, and I think they're quicker too. So I'm working with 8 chicken wings here, which I think is the perfect amount so that you don't crowd them in the air fryer basket. And then all I'm gonna do at this stage is season with a little bit of salt and pepper. Because I'm gonna show you how to make a really delicious and easy spicy buffalo sauce that we are gonna toss our wings in after they're done. Okay, so in they go. We're gonna go at 350 for just 25 minutes. Now, all of these recipes are done in my air fryer, so your air fryer might vary a little bit with the temperature controls. You just kind of have to play around with it and see what works best. Okay, now for our spicy buffalo sauce. So you're gonna add a 1/4 cup of butter. I know, that's what buffalo sauce is made out of. I never realized how much butter was in it. But we're gonna add some other sauces to thin it out. Then you wanna add 3 tablespoons of your favorite hot sauce. It's funny, you would think 3 tablespoons of hot sauce would be like really hot, but the butter really mellows it out. So you really kind of need 3 tablespoons to at least get a kick. Then we're gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, just to give it a little bit of heartiness and some depth of flavor. And then to give it a little tang, a 1/2 teaspoon of white wine vinegar. And then for a little extra seasoning, I like to add a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, or you could use onion powder too. And that's all there is to it. It's ready to put on our wings. See, this is why I love the chicken wings in the air fryer. You can see how crispy they are. They're golden brown on all sides, and it's just so much less mess. To get this type of crispiness. It's almost like you've deep fried them when you have it. All right, now we're gonna just pour this delicious buffalo sauce on top. So because this is spicy, I usually don't put the whole thing in the bowl. I'll put maybe half, toss the wings, and then you can reserve the rest for a little dipping bowl, and that way people can add more or dip their wings as they like. Then you can finish it off with a little blue cheese dressing. And I'll leave you my recipe in the description. It's super simple. Or you can use store-bought if that's easier for you. And then of course you need to have some celery just to cool down the heat. It's also really good in the blue cheese dressing. And then for a little flourish, I like to add a little bit of cooling cilantro on top. How yummy is that? Okay, next up, home fries. Home fries are even better made in the air fryer. Not only are they quicker, but it's hands-free cooking because you can put them in the air fryer and run around your kitchen and do other things, and you don't have to be strapped at the cooktop, shaking them and checking on them. They taste like you've deep fried them, but again, without all that oil. Just a spritz of olive oil is all you need. So for the home fries, all you're gonna need is 1 russet potato. We are gonna peel the potato. Then you wanna slice it in half, and then put it cut side down and slice it horizontally, and then put it towards you, and you can cut 2 slices. So I have 1 here and 1 here. And then after you do that, then you can cut them into little cubes. Then you can place the potatoes in a bowl, and then to that we're gonna add a 1/2 cup of red onion, 1/2 cup of green bell peppers, and a 1/2 cup of red peppers. And then I also like to add 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. You could use garlic powder too, if that's all you had, and a 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika. So smoked paprika is different than the regular paprika. It has a really nice smoky flavor to it, and it's gonna give great taste to our home fries. Then we also wanna add some salt and pepper to taste. Then go ahead and just toss this up, just to make sure all the seasoning and salt and pepper and veggies are all combined. The other thing I like to do is just spritz a little bit of this olive oil spray on top. I think it's better than using the straight olive oil because you get more of a thin layer. All right, in they go. And then these are gonna go at 375 for 15 minutes. Delicious, easy air fryer home fries in less than 20 minutes. Okay, next up, coconut shrimp. This is so much easier in the air fryer because you don't have to be strapped to the cooktop deep frying shrimp, and you can cook a whole appetizer platter in 1 batch. So I have 10 colossal shrimp here. They just make for heartier appetizers. And then I am just gonna season with a little bit of salt and pepper. Then you wanna set up your dipping station. So in this bowl, I'm gonna add a 1/2 cup of just regular all-purpose flour. And then in this bowl, I'm gonna add a 1/2 cup of panko breadcrumbs and a 1/2 cup of shredded coconut. And then you can go ahead and just toss that all up so it's combined. And then I also have 2 beaten eggs. Now, here's a little tip for you anytime you are dipping something that deals with dry ingredients and wet ingredients. You want 1 hand for the dry ingredients. So here, I'm going with my shrimp, and then I'm gonna take this hand and put it in the wet ingredient, and then back to the dry for the coconut. And that will just keep your hands from getting really messy. You wanna pack on the coconut and the panko. Now, once they're in the air fryer, the other thing you want to do is just give them a light dusting of olive oil. Then you're going to go at 375 for just 8 to 10 minutes. When they're done, they'll be all golden brown and crispy on the outside and so beautifully plump and juicy on the inside. Now, another thing you can do, because the recipe is a little bit messy doing all the prep, you can go through the process, fry the shrimp, and then put it into an airtight container and pop it in the fridge. Then, moments before your guests arrive, pop it back into the air fryer for another like 5 minutes or so, and it'll be all crisped up and ready to serve. Now, you could serve your shrimp with some sweet chili sauce, and I think that's probably the most common way to serve coconut shrimp, but recently I've discovered it's also really great with some mango chutney. So you can just get a really good high-quality mango chutney and serve it with the shrimp, and it's such a great flavor combination, especially in the summertime. Okay, next up, cookies. There is such a thing as an air fryer cookie. There's a couple of different ways to do this. I've seen it on the internet, but this is how we like to enjoy them because it's so easy and it's so quick. It's kind of dangerous. Basically, what you're gonna do is get some store-bought cookie dough, whatever your favorite brand is. Then you're gonna take a 4-inch ramekin, spray it with a little bit of baking spray, and then taking roughly what would be 2 cookies from the dough, and I'm gonna put this in the ramekin and just press it down all the way. And when I tried to do this idea in the conventional oven, it took me 22 minutes, but in the air fryer, it's only gonna take us 10. When the kids go to bed and you want something really sweet, you can just break off a little bit of this and just make a single serving for you and your husband, or just you, or you and your boyfriend, you and your girlfriend, whoever you are watching the TV with. We'll love this. Then once this is all pressed down, you want to put it in the air fryer at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. It might be tempting to go at 350, but I found doing that, the top got too brown before the inside was done. So 325 is the better temperature, and then let it go for 10 minutes. And then of course you have to top with some vanilla ice cream. That'll really kick it over the edge. And if you have it, a few nuts is also good. It is so delicious. You could serve these for a dinner party and no one would know the difference. Tortilla chips are definitely better in the air fryer. Not only is it easier than having to deep fry them, but they get crunchier than they do in the oven. My one tip is it tends to work better with thinner tortillas. Sometimes they even say extra thin, extra soft. They're a lot more pliable than the ones that are a little bit thicker. Just get a little bit crispier and crunchier. Cut them in half. And then you can cut them in quarters. And then the other thing you want to do before air frying them is just spray them with a little bit of olive oil and a sprinkle of salt. That way the salt will have something to cling to, and then your chips will be already seasoned once they're done. So low and slow is the way to go. 325 for about 6 minutes. I found at the higher temperatures, they got nice and crispy, but then they started to get really burned and browned in places. And then you can serve them with your favorite salsa and guacamole. If you'd like my guacamole recipe, it's in the description. And then you can also sprinkle just a little bit more salt on top if you like them salty. And there you have it. Now for more super easy and delicious air fryer recipes, be sure to hit this playlist, and I'll see you over there with some of my other favorites.